Welcome to Only Ghosts in the Building. This is your host, Emily Claire.
And Karen Lynn. And we have here today
Christy Mannering from Diamond State Ghost Investigators.
Yay!
Welcome.
I'm so excited.
This is going to be fun. You've got some interesting stories and I'm really anxious to hear them. But first, we want to find out about you. You work with Diamond State Ghost Investigators.
Yes, I do. Well, my number one job and priority is to be a mom of three, 2 boys and a girl. They are my hearts walking around outside my body, so they're my number ones. And I work as a digital communications manager at the University of Delaware. My oldest, Braden, and I run a nonprofit called 3B Braised Brown Bags. We provide healthy food to low-income and homeless populations. We've been doing that for 11 years now. I think he started it when he was 9.
That's
so,
great.
Yeah. Doing that. And
how did that get started?
So Braden, he won something called the Healthy Lunchtime Challenge when he was 9 years old by submitting a Braden-made recipe to a contest. He won for the state of Delaware, and the prize was to attend the kids' state dinner at the White House. And when we were there, it was so incredible. And when we were there, we, lo and behold, of all the tables in the entire ballroom, we're seated next to Michelle Obama.
Wow.
So
And she was a real
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she's still
healthy food. Yeah, she had the garden.
Yes, we got to see the garden, toured the garden, and Braden sat right next to her, and he was 9, and he wasn't thinking about, oh my goodness, I'm sitting next to the first lady. He was thinking about, I want to eat this food, and also you seem really nice. So he wasn't nervous, and they really hit it off, and they became friends, really, and she invited him back, so he attended the State of the Union address for President Obama.
Wow.
He was a speaker at the White House for other things. But the thing that captured him and the other kids there, she said, this is such a cool thing you're getting to do. How are you going to pay it forward? And he really didn't get that concept.
Yeah.
But when we were at the train station, he saw a lot of homeless people. He wanted to give his souvenir money to these people. I said, why don't we think of a way that we can help them more long term? Mm-hmm. And it was a couple weeks later, we were back in Delaware. It was raining. We were heading home, and he saw a man on the street, and I didn't stop. I had 3 kids in my car. It was after work, after school. I was tired. But we got home, and he was rummaging around in the kitchen, and I kind of snapped at him because I need time to decompress when I get home. I get overstimulated, and I can't deal with anything for a good 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I said, what are you doing in the kitchen? I haven't made dinner yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he comes over to me, again, 9 years old, and he says, can you take me back to the man? I packed up some snacks for him. So you can't say no to that.
Sure.
So I packed up the kids and Braden back in the car. We went and found the man, and he took my umbrella because it was raining, and he got out of the car. I couldn't leave his younger brother and sister. Yeah. And he walked out on the street and gave this man this food, and the man said, thank you, son. And that was it. That was the answer to Michelle Obama's how are you going to pay it forward. And every time we left the house, we brought bags of food and we're giving them. And then it just rippled. He has something called 3B Ripples, where schools can apply to be student chapters, and we've been able to travel all over the country. He's received so many awards, but the best part of all of it is seeing that ripple effect.
Yeah, other people doing the same thing and becoming involved.
Getting involved in service is just something you're not really taught at a young age. You volunteer in high school, in some high schools. But
some of them you have to, right?
Right.
It's not really it's something you have to do, but it's not something you're
not thinking about
do.
it. Right. And so he became this little public speaker, and
you must have been so proud of him. That's crazy.
Yeah, still we still
he
are.
Still is. And how old is he now?
He'll be 21. He'll be 21 on October 12th.
And he still has that that drive to help. And what do you think he's going to do? And is he going to school now?
He's taking classes at UD for computer science.
Oh, good.
You had just mentioned you worked in computer science.
Mm-hmm.
He's never thought about Braised Brown Bags as a career. It's something that if someone says to him, are you always going to do this? He says, it's always going to be needed. That's his answer. It's
Right.
always going to be needed. And it's true. Healthy food is so hard to afford. And they're,
The
you know,
food deserts. In
Exactly.
Some of the communities, the grocery stores just don't.
I'm over here like tearing up. Sorry.
They're
Trying to
not
sniff.
there. Yeah, I know. It's so
well, he
cute.
did a TED Talk when he was 13, I think.
He's a little celebrity.
So forget about ghosts. I want to hear about all of this. This is
But one
interesting.
of the things he said was, I wouldn't want someone to drive by my mom. That was like the story of his
God.
TED
Yeah,
Talk.
you're right.
And to me, I mean, in so many ways, he's raised me because I was driving by people. I wasn't thinking about it, and that is somebody's family. That's somebody's, and there's been so many people where we've been on the street, we've been in the woods where they're living. We've met these really great people who've been on really hard times. They've had mental health issues, and there are not enough resources, and it didn't matter to a 9-year-old. You know what I mean? You have a kid, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't, nothing's going to stop a child when they put their mind to something.
Yeah.
And they just need to be given the platform.
So he sounds
to do
like an
that.
old soul.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely an old soul. He's a great kid. I'm really blessed. I have really great kids.
Oh, that's good.
So that be,
Well,
but
I'm
that
sure
is,
that there's a reason they're really great.
Yes.
Though. I mean, you get
I think my
what you
mom.
put in.
But yeah, they're great, and they are so supportive of me being part of this to bring it back, the paranormal world, because that's what makes mom happy.
Yeah.
So when they were younger, it was harder to be able to go out until 2:00 at night. But now, and Finnegan, my 15-year-old, is super into it. And I had told you earlier, I'm taking Amelia, my 11-year-old, to the Parakids event on November 9th up at My Haunted Manor, Samuel Miller Mansion. I don't know what we're supposed to call it.
I know it's so hard. I think if they were listening, they've heard it all.
Yeah, I hope so.
We call it Sammy Miller.
Right.
In Columbia, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Right, in Columbia, Pennsylvania.
So
And
that's
that's
a-
and that's run by Interstate, and then
Interstate
My Haunted Manor.
Paranormal Investigation.
Research.
Research.
Yeah.
I can never remember the whole
I
name.
know, because we just shorten into Interstate or
Interstate.
IPR.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're a different group, but very similar to the group that you belong to, Diamond State Ghost Investigators.
Right, and I've met many members of IPR, and they're so great.
They are.
And
yes,
we're
we've
gonna have a
interviewed-
Christmas party here.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, me too.
So that's hard to follow. That. so what do you think it is about the paranormal that attracts you and your children?
The spooky ghost, the dead people make me happy. It's so terrible when I say it that way. So I grew up with paranormal occurrences being normal. That my mom could always see things. The women in my family have always had sort of that third eye or sixth sense. And I remember living in a townhouse in Four Seasons, not far from where Matt O'Neill from Diamond State Ghost Investigators lives now. When I was little, my dad worked the midnight shift for Amtrak, so it was my younger brother, myself, and my mom home at night. But if something was wrong with my brother or I, there was a ghostly woman who would alert my mom.
Wow.
So that was a woman, a blonde hair, and a blue nightgown that would let my mom know if we needed her. So it was never abnormal.
Did you ever find out who that was?
No, nobody that my mom recognized. So it had to be somebody associated with that area.
Or an ancestor way back.
Cool. That would be really cool to
Yeah.
know.
So
That'd be
that's
neat.
relatively newly developed, although it's 40 years old, that whole area or more. Those houses.
It
or
would
that
have to
whole
be
area.
more than 40 years. I'm 43, and the houses had been there.
Did you ever ask Debbie about her?
No,
You should. She might be able to figure it out.
that would be interesting.
Yeah. 'cause
Side note,
she's
segue, Debbie.
She's read us when we did her interview, and I mean it was not on here, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
She pulled out some stuff that I was not expecting at all.
Definitely.
She's a
Yeah.
phenomenal,
Yes.
phenomenal woman.
That's a
She's
good
very
idea,
gifted.
though,
Yeah.
Emily. It really is.
That might be cool to
have that.
see what she says.
But the
Anyway.
reason I'm saying is usually when you have entities, it's you think about someplace older, like ancient
Right,
houses where
right.
there's been a lot of history of death or people living in for a long time.
Like the old
Or
Victorian
there
or the
being
old
an accident
farmhouse.
like over that happened outside of Elkton.
Yeah,
There's
with
a
the
community-
plane
there was a
crash.
plane crash back in the 60s.
And now
Right,
their
in a
houses.
field.
And
I
their
remember,
houses
I've heard
are-
about that.
Right. their
She
houses have-
saw it.
Yeah, I saw
Well,
the
she
flash.
saw the flash.
Oh, wow.
So
when she
this
was young.
plane got struck by lightning and went down, and the field was empty for a long time, and they built townhouses there, and people have reported, some occurrences in some of the houses, not all of them. So that's why I know where Four Seasons is. It's
Right.
not that close, but usually there's an event to have, unless it's associated with your family.
Yeah.
may
Which
be
could
that.
be, although I don't believe that entity moved with us when we moved houses.
Okay.
My mom's not mentioned seeing that woman again.
Yeah.
We both see my great grandfather
Mm.
where my parents currently live. When my mom is sick, I will see him. He's usually wearing a white suit, and when I knew him in my life, he had lost both of his legs and he was in a wheelchair.
Okay.
When I see him now, he's walking
Yeah.
and he's in his best dapper suit.
Yeah.
And I know I need to check on my mom if I see him.
Yeah.
She sees him too, but for different reasons.
Do you see him in your third eye or do you see him in your room?
In my room, in the hallway, outside.
Like it looks like
So it's an
he is
apparition.
physically there.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
And does he communicate with you at all?
No, he just walks.
You just see him.
and you're like, oh, okay.
I know to check on
Gotcha.
my mom. It's happened enough times when something's wrong that's the correlation I've made. Maybe that's not even the
Yeah.
case, and he in his life was superstitious about everything.
Yeah.
So it amazes me that he's now the one that comes back.
Yeah. That's so cool.
That is, yeah.
Well, so that's your first experiences with that.
Yes.
That's cool. And then has it kept going just all down?
Yes. And
Or did you have like a dry spell?
No, I feel like there's always unfortunately there's always energy too. And that it's actually hard for me to understand or even talk about. Sometimes I feel like I see something, but I don't know that I saw something. I think there's an energy that is getting my attention. And there have been, in the last 8 years, I've been through different traumas where my kids were seeing shadows in the hallway too. I don't know that was an apparition or a ghost. I believe there was a very negative energy that appeared. We could see this dark presence, but it wasn't.
It's like a manifestation, but
Yes.
not a human.
Yes.
But you didn't feel
Yeah.
threatened by it.
Oh no,
It was
I have felt threatened
Yeah,
by that.
okay.
And Braden, when Braden was younger, I don't know if he still does, and I don't know that he would admit to it, but we've talked about it recently, and he did remember when he was younger, he used to see different colors. He would see big white balls or big blue lights, and he also would see shadows. And I remember we would light incense and a candle and go into his room, and he would say, "Only love and light are welcome here." And he would go to each corner, the north, the south, the east, the west, and just, I wanted him to feel like he had control
Right.
over what could be near him. And I didn't know anything about Reiki. I didn't know anything about Wicca, which now I do know a little bit about it, and I'm quite fascinated by it. But he's always kind of had that, he feels those energies, but he saw them in colors when he was younger.
That's neat.
And he would see them in the car when I was driving and scare the crap out of me because he would scream it from his little car seat behind me. And I can't find it. I looked for it so that I could show it, and I can't find it. But he took a picture with my phone years ago with a flip phone, and in that picture there was definitely something that we could see. It looked like a person, and it was at an intersection where a fatal car accident had been just a couple weeks earlier. He saw the light, then took the picture, and we could see, and I can't find the picture.
He's totally that M. Night Shyamalan. Shyamalan. I see dead people.
It's scary. It was scary.
Yeah.
And he was scared until he had that. Oh, I can fight this. I don't have to have anything bad in my room.
it's the
Like, this is up
confidence.
to me. Yeah.
If he
Again,
sees
as a kid.
Bruce Willis, you know you're in trouble, right?
Oh no! If I saw Bruce Willis, I would take it as a good sign. That's a very handsome man.
Wasn't he the character, the actor?
Yes.
Yes,
Was he
in
the-
Sixth
yeah, okay.
Sense.
I was
In-
saying,
in
am
the
I
Sixth
thinking about
Sense.
the right person?
Yes.
You are.
Yeah, you are.
So have you ever seen anything like a portal or anything that would resemble where entities could pass into or out of?
I don't think
Well,
that
what are
I
your
have.
thoughts on it? Yeah.
I believe there are definitely places in the world in which the veil is thin. And, with ley lines and different areas where maybe that part of the earth is just more vulnerable. I don't want to say vulnerable.
Skinwalker Ranch.
I don't want to say vulnerable because that makes it sound negative, but I do
Right.
think that there are places where something from another dimension or something from another part of, whether you believe in heaven or hell or
Right.
whatever that is, I do think that there are. It makes sense to me that there would be portals or there would be a place.
So
where
it would
that-
be an energy,
Like a little
like
rip.
a place
Right.
where an energy surge would
Right.
happen. That would, because from what I understand, to the energy level, you have to raise your energy level to be able to communicate with some entities that.
Yeah.
are
Or you
other than
lower
ghosts.
yourself to have the lower energies.
To have negative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the vibration levels. Like the higher the vibration is, the higher it is. Like the more good these entities are. That's
Yeah, supposedly that's the
And
way
like-
that it goes, but
when you're sad, depressed, things manifest. That's the lower vibration. That's why we say like love and light, positive, raise
so
your
sometimes
vibration.
people get sick and they'll see that dark
Yes.
shadow
Well, didn't you
enter, and I did.
see
Yes,
that?
I did that. I was very sick, and I saw a dark shadow, and I froze. It was one of my freeze responses, but I couldn't do anything about it, and the shadow came around into the bedroom, and nothing really ever happened other than I saw it, but you don't know if it's real because you're feverish, and,
Right.
is that drawing in that energy or whether it's just a hallucination? Don't know.
Well, and isn't that the case with most paranormal? Is that everybody experiences it differently, and that's what makes it so hard to talk about with someone who's a really sincere skeptic or someone who's never experienced it before, because it's different for everybody. Any investigation we go to, even when we're at Fort Delaware or Pennhurst like we just were, each person is going to experience, see, hear, feel it differently based on their own life experiences, what they've been through, where they are in their current life.
Or their sensitivity, their energy level and sensitivity to things.
Yeah, I think each
'cause she
psychics are different and they do things differently. What?
Because you get different stuff
I
than I
do.
get, and I get it a different way than you do.
I get a stomach ache a lot,
Mm-hmm.
or like my hand will start hurting if there's something coming. Like a lot of the times here, actually, like when we're stirring up the energy while we're talking about it, and things start coming to us here. I've seen things walk down these stairs a bunch. So if you see me looking past you, I'm probably just seeing somebody's foot come down.
And the light
And the light goes off.
I saw the light go off in the reflection.
That was
But
good timing light.
But-
yeah, anyway.
But that's another thing is people get scared of talking about things that they're not sure of. and they don't like to, like my husband is like, he doesn't want to know about it, talk about it. He thinks anything that's not solid is evil, and that has to do with his religious upbringing, I believe, or some stories he's been told over the years.
Right.
So how do you get past that? Do you run into people that have that same fear when you're doing investigations, or same denial?
Yes, my parents. So my mom, even though she has this gift and she hears things and feels things and sees things, she's terrified of it. I don't understand that part, because I wish she would just embrace it. But she's always, well, don't bring anything home. I have never worried about that. Maybe that's my own being gullible or naive.
No, because I think when you don't worry about it, your protection is up. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not worried about it. I'm protecting myself. Like, my energy is like, you can't faze me. And
I think that's my energy.
yeah.
You can't faze me. You're not. I'm not.
Yeah. So
But
you don't give it any.
There's no
validation
right.
to your
room to attach to you.
Right.
Because your energy is there.
Right.
And there's no holes in it.
That makes sense. Now, my dad, on the other hand, doesn't believe in ghosts at all. He says if he sees one, he will believe. If I tell him a story about something that's happened, he will immediately pepper off questions of who else was there? Was something planted? Somebody wanted you to hear that. He doesn't
or
believe
what did you
anything.
smoke?
Truly, he doesn't, even though he trusts me fully, he does not believe in ghosts at all. And when I have an EVP and I want them to listen to it, it doesn't matter, because he's going to absolutely believe that somebody else was in that room. I just didn't see them. Not that I'm lying to him, but that somebody else was there and was tricking me.
Conning you.
And
right.
Exactly. So,
I showed my husband the picture of that little boy from my haunted manor, that picture, and the live photo. He saw the live photo in action. He was like, I don't see anything. I'm like, there's a head and there's arms and there's feet. Like, how do you not see this? But he doesn't.
And I can't even talk to my husband about it, because he's like, if you see something, then it's got to be bad. There couldn't be anything good.
Oh, that's so sad, because I think first of all, I know when I have passed on from this world, I am definitely coming back and checking in on people that I care about.
Sure.
And I don't think I feel that there are traumatic instances in which ghosts are left behind because they have unfinished business, or they're trying to figure out what happened to them. But I also believe that there's this independence and freedom where you can come and go. I don't think that when you die, you're locked somewhere, even if it's heaven.
Right.
I don't think that you're locked in there. I think you're freely able to go and check on people and see what's going on. And when you do that, they could be open to seeing you or hearing you or smelling your perfume.
Yes.
I think the sense of
the
smell
coffee, the cigarettes,
is huge.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And I think the people the entities that are stuck, it's kind of their own making, because they don't believe that they can move forward or go someplace else. This is like, oh, this is where I am, and I can't do anything. And then that's their own process.
And I had heard that if you die a sudden death, sometimes it takes a while to realize that you're, and of course, time is our construct. It's not on the other side. So
time is a flat circle.
It's just kind of like the Earth, a flat circle. No.
Don't go.
I'm not a flat earther. I'm just kidding. But we need linear time to make sense of this world, but entities do not. It's different, energy levels and different ways of looking at or being. And so,
agreed.
Like, we go to Rockwood, and the entities that are there seem to be happy to come back to that place because they had a good time there. They don't come back in a negative way.
And they're like, yay, people are talking to us, woohoo!
Penhurst is a different story. They may have had some negative experiences there, and that's what they know there.
Right.
Or they're just kind of there going like, oh, let's pretend I'm a nurse and I'm going to jab you with a
Oh no.
needle.
I caught, we were doing spirit box session and it said jab it, like jab it, and it was a woman. So, and I heard about the one woman that wrote the book. She was talking about how people feel like needles, like they got needled. I was like,
I would not enjoy that.
no. I was like, no, please not me.
So the question is, it's just somebody repeating that motion that they did in real life, or are they all laughing at us from the other side? And they'll say, let's do this. We'll touch this person's hair or pretend to jab them with a
maybe
needle.
both. Maybe both. I do think residual energy is a really big part of Fort Delaware.
Yeah.
We definitely get activity at Fort Delaware. This will be my 7th year doing it. You know,
Cool.
it's haunted. It's a haunted location. But I believe a lot of it is residual energy. There were a lot of young soldiers there that really never saw the war. The war didn't come to that island.
No.
And I've read through, there's a historian at Fort Delaware, his name's Ed. He has given me so many diaries and pieces of literature to read what the soldiers there were thinking day in and day out. And they're, 18-year-old boys.
I saw a person, but it's just James.
They're 18-year-old, I'm going to call them boys because I think 18-year-olds are still boys. But they were writing home and they were saying, I heard about so-and-so, they got injured in the war in some other part of what the war was going through. We're just sitting here eating our apples or whatever it might be. And so I feel like there was so much, they were bored, but they went through these same routines to keep up with whatever the regiments were, going up and down the stairs or going into the area to mail their post. And I think that's what we hear. We're hearing, and families lived there, little kids lived there. We're hearing them come in and leave. But that's a residual, repeated energy. I don't know that that's something they're intelligently trying to communicate with us. I do think that exists. I also think the public bring things to the island sometimes. But Finnegan, my 15-year-old, he gets more activity than I do on the island. I don't know if it's because he's still new or if it's because he's younger, but with the torches and with EVPs, he always gets responses.
Maybe because he's a young male. And
Could be.
that's,
It
the
makes me
majority of
wonder.
the people there were young men.
Right.
Right. So with the residuals and things that you experience, and we're supposed to be talking about.
I'm
that
sorry,
later,
I'm all
but-
over the place.
No, that's us.
we can do that because
This
we
is an
digress.
amazing conversation already.
I'm so excited to hear this, but what was it? Now I lost my
Sorry.
Oh no.
track.
I'll cut it out.
Oh, the people that were there. Some people were there from traumatic experiences. Had traumatic because they were prisoners.
At
right?
Fort Delaware, there
At
were a
Fort
lot
Delaware,
of prisoners.
there were a
in the
lot
war.
of prisoners. So there's a lot of negative energies, but the energy that you're seeing then just do the routine.
Yes.
And that is a repeat. Sometimes you'll see a shadow figure doing the same repeat.
Yes.
That's just the residual energy. It doesn't have a thought or a mind that you could tap into and
Right.
see what was going on. But there was another point I was going to make, and I forget what it was, and it might come to me later. So,
Well, so
I'll just patch it in.
the prisoners of war on the island were outside the fort. They were not
They
in
were in
the
the
fort
barracks,
walls.
in
Right.
those barracks,
And I
right.
do think that makes a difference. So
Okay.
I think we're in the fort walls when we
Mm-hmm.
do our tours, and we're not talking to the prisoners at that point. I don't know that the prisoners of war
But
that are
they
still
did-
there are.
They took care of them medically there,
Oh,
though. Right?
there were tents. There were other buildings. I wish I had a picture of what was on the island.
I kind of remember
Before,
that.
yeah. So it's different. And there had been some deaths in the Sally Port area that I've read about. But I think if you're on the extended tour, which I know Emily's going on the extended, you get to go into the barracks and you're more likely to get that kind of sad feeling and sad energy there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sad energy inside the fort are genuinely from soldiers who feel almost guilty being there and not actually being out and fighting.
Gotcha.
Or they're homesick.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you know, 18-year-olds, they get homesick. You're
Absolutely.
stuck
And
somewhere
you
off
can
of-
read that in the letters and the
Really,
journals
yeah.
that I've read through. I should have brought them with me because it's been 2 weeks since you mailed me back. You must be really busy out there. And I can just hear, you know, my own kid. I can hear their tone in the
Yeah.
letter that they're writing. So it's given me the last couple of years a completely different perspective of what happened there and what we might be experiencing when we're touring. It's really hard though because it's really quick tours as you're rotating
Yes.
through, and if you have never investigated again, you know, some of the people, they want to go off on their own. Other people are completely scared and they just kind of stand next to you. And so by the time you're at the end of your 9:30 tour, I've asked the same question 25 times. If I were a spirit in that room, I would just want to throw something at me because I would be so done with this.
Yeah,
you know, you've
right.
already asked me that. I've already made your cat ball go off. Go away.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Yeah, because we were shuffled through, I felt like. Yeah.
That was
Which
pretty quick.
it is. And so you get a taste of little parts of it,
Right.
but it's like, I want to be in here for all night. So let's book a camp out.
Really?
Do they do camp outs besides like Boy Scouts?
We have
I
an
mean,
overnight.
besides you.
You do overnight.
We
But
have an
you're
overnight. That's,
special.
that's our prize.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is our overnight. I think if you had the money, they would let you stay overnight. I think that's what it is.
Well, the problem
But-
is the transportation because
Right,
you've
yeah.
got to go by ferry. There isn't any other way.
right. You would
on
have to
to
go
the island.
over when the last public tour during the day
Yep.
in the summer when they're leaving, you'd have to be going over at that same time, and then they'd come back and get you in the morning.
There's
no leaving that
leaving.
island.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've actually said to my kids before, "I'll swim it," which I could never.
No,
I would
right,
never be
no.
able to swim from the island
And
to
it's a
the
shipping channel.
mainland because I would be swimming and then be miles away because of the current. But
Yeah.
I've always, that's the mom response. I'll get to you. I'll find a way.
Nope, not happening.
No, you're
No.
stuck on the island.
Well,
Yeah.
we just have to wait until we all have personal cars. I mean, flying cars.
Flying
and
cars.
we go.
We
Fly
could
over.
get one of those jet packs that shoot the water
There you
out.
go.
Ooh.
Like,
No, see, I don't trust myself on that either.
No.
That would be dangerous for myself and all the wildlife around me. I'm very clumsy.
So what is your the most haunted place that you've been?
Trans-Allegheny.
I knew
Right?
she was going to
Yeah,
say
she
that.
called
I said,
that.
she's going to say
She's
Trans-Allegheny.
gonna call that. She
Yeah.
called that. That's funny.
That's something we've never been to
No,
Trans-Allegheny.
she doesn't want to
And
go.
I'm
I
not
do.
sure I do.
I want to go.
We hope to go
So
again. I will say,
I'm coming with you. I will be packed in some suitcase somewhere, so Gina doesn't know I'm there until I'm there.
we do plan to go again in 2025.
I'm going.
Trans-Allegheny,
Wait, does that mean I have to sign up for DSGI just so I can come with you?
I mean, we are recruiting starting in January. But again, you've got to work on the 25th hour of your day. Because without adding more time, I don't know how you'd fit
Well,
everything in.
how much do you how much would the average person? I'm sorry, I'm
Digressing?
digressing, but this is kind of important because you guys are going to be adding more people. So if you want to join Diamond State Ghost Investigators,
Look
that's
for
how you do it.
application. Yeah, look for an application starting in January on the website.
What's the monthly thing for you guys?
I
I know that you have your own thing because you work on Christie's Chronicles and
do.
web stuff with Matt, correct?
Right. I do
social
the social
media?
media.
Yeah.
I do Diamond State Ghost Investigator social media. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram's relatively new, so
Yeah.
we do not have many followers on there. And because I'm a 40-something female, most of our followers on both platforms are 40-something females. So I need to work on how I write because
I know that's our demographic too. Is like the between 40s and 60s. That's what that's who's listening to us, is females between 40 and 60.
We want the younger crowd, please. We need
Yes,
your
that's what I
input.
said.
Well, maybe you got to do more TikTok dances or something.
Oh, no one wants to see me dance. I do wish DSGI had a YouTube channel. I think that would be really fun. If not that, to do more live videos on
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes.
Interstate does that.
Yeah.
Interstate has TikTok and Facebook, and I love when I see the little alert that they've gone live. Although I normally get that alert 5 hours later.
I know, right?
And that really irritates me because I wanted to listen to the Haunts and Legends, and I always get the alert after the fact. So then,
Yeah.
it's not quite as fun when you're commenting, but they're not seeing you commenting
Yeah.
because it's done.
Yeah.
You've missed it, Christy.
I think that's usually Tuesdays at 7 on
As I'm cleaning the dishes.
Facebook. Yeah. Well, I think they have lots of maybe other different streams than just Facebook, but Tuesdays at 7, Haunts and Legends, y'all.
Yes, it's a very cool podcast.
I'm usually trying to get to sleep.
And yeah,
I like getting in bed.
I'm up really early and do go to bed early, but I read.
Yeah.
I have to read every night to fall asleep.
So, just to kind of tell people what are the qualifications
Oh,
with
yeah, sorry.
putting in an application. It's going to open in January for
Yes.
new members.
Um,
So what are you looking for?
So I will let me just disclaimer here. Gina Dunham, our president, she would be the best person to talk to about that.
Yeah.
But you have to be 18. You have to be able to stand for a long time, walk stairs,
Yeah.
lift the equipment, all those things. A lot of us are younger. When I started, my kids were young, and Gina's so flexible and understanding of that. What she does require is at least 4 nights in October at Fort Delaware.
So October's the big
October is
time for
our
you
busy
because you do
time.
Fort Delaware, but you also do Bellevue Hall.
Bellevue will be November 15th this year.
I know people going.
Do you? I don't know. It might have sold out. That one normally.
No, they got the tickets already. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one sells out pretty quick, and that's November
Yes.
15th. So October and really November are pretty busy, and then we do something usually the end of January, beginning of February at Balladary near Gettysburg. So there's that time as a team that we do, and then we'll do.
Sorry, my phone is going off.
Oh, it's okay.
It was like vibrating. I could hear it it was like vibrating the table.
So what's Balladary?
I've never been to
So
Balladary.
it's new for them, or
No, they've done it every year. It's something that they really look forward to. It just happens to be smack in the middle of the school year, and I would have to miss a day of the kids, and one of my kids needs
so
transportation.
they also require that you do training, right?
We do have training today. We actually trained here, and we did audio training and DVR training, which I feel like you just need to keep doing that with people who do it regularly, because they have all the little tips and tricks of how to amplify your audio. And Matt O'Neill, who does the website for DSGI, he was training us on using Audacity. So that's what we learned
cool.
today.
You know more than me because I hate Audacity.
Oh,
I've tried it. I was like, nah.
it has all the bells and whistles that you really don't need.
Yes.
So having just what you do need, being able to get the little snippet that you need,
Yep.
amplify that audio, export it out so that it's not part of an 8-hour recording.
Exactly.
That's the most important part. I would say, in addition to doing the October tours and then the 3 other things that we do throughout the year at the locations that they pick, we also have private investigations. I know there's 2 that they're working on right now, private investigations. So, a case manager will get a phone call or an email and talk to the person, interview the person, and figure out what might be going on. Gina doesn't ever have us deal with anything evil or demonic. There's a whole other
She
team.
passes that
Yes,
off. Yeah.
there's a whole other team that deals with that. We don't deal with that. So sometimes, we'll go and we'll get the lay of the land and ask questions and look around the person's house. And usually 98% of the time, you're debunking things right away. You can just see something. If someone's really familiar with a place, they might not be thinking about the fact that something's reflecting off of the TV screen, like when you saw the lights go off behind me,
Yeah.
I knew they went off because I saw it on the TV screen.
Right.
So I think a lot of paranormal investigators are super hyper aware.
Yes.
We're just hyper vigilant about everything, every noise, and figuring out where it came from.
So debunking is a big part of
Huge.
investigation.
I feel like that might be the number one
That's
thing.
it.
Yeah, I think,
It's
trying
just-
to debunk
yeah, and
what you're seeing or feeling or smelling or hearing or, you know, any of the senses that
Yeah.
you have, you know, especially if you're feeling something cold. Is it a draft?
Right.
Or is it, you know, something
Like-
really going on?
If people were listening to this, we can hear voices. That's not actually people. That, I
Thumping.
mean, that's people upstairs talking
Right.
that we can hear down here. I can hear it in the. You guys maybe can't, but I can.
I don't
With the
hear the
headphones.
voices,
I
but I
hear the
hear
thumping.
bumping.
Yeah, there's
Right.
and we've been thumping on the table, but so they're listening. I mean, we would be listening back to this, but we don't have the visual side of it. So I think that's interesting to like be able, like maybe they only have one piece of the puzzle, and so you can come in and get the audio and video and really like hit it
Right.
from all angles.
right.
Yeah.
And when you do EVPs, right now I can hear the leaves outside and the American flag. There's a
pretty
flag
sensitive.
blowing.
Yeah.
And I can hear that. And if you don't know all of those different things when you are listening to an EVP or when you're watching a recording, you might take, I mean, you always hope it's a ghost.
Yeah.
That's the desire, is
Yeah,
for
like
it to be something
trying.
paranormal. I want it to be that, but dang it, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I think that when you're watching shows on TV too, they make it seem like there's something happening every second. But those people, like Ghost Brothers or Kindred Spirits, which are my favorites, they're at an investigation for like 72 hours, and we're seeing 28 minutes of
Right.
it.
Right.
And so I think, yeah, the best tool you can have beside a flashlight is your own skepticism and wanting to first say, all right, let me find out every other possible thing this can be. And then if I can't debunk it, then can I say it's 100% paranormal? I still can't say that.
No.
But I can tell you, this is unknown to me.
Yes.
This is an unknown. It's possible it's paranormal.
Yeah.
But that's only going to happen 2% of the time.
Well, and I've been on enough. I mean, I don't go on a lot of investigations, but they can be really boring.
Oh, absolutely.
They can be, and my mind wanders, and Emily will say, "Did you hear that noise?" And I'm like, "No," because I was thinking about something else. I'm not paying attention to all the little noises. So sometimes that happens. It's like you have
Well,
to
you-
be hyper vigilant for a long period of
Absolutely.
time,
Yeah.
and it's hard to do.
It is.
It's a
It's
certain
draining.
type of person. Yes. The paranormal hangover is real.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I after Penhurst.
I mean, we had drinks. You guys went home.
Jeff and I went home, and it was so good that we did, because I, even after that, felt so sick. I remember I slept in, I came down the stairs. Braden's girlfriend Grace was in the kitchen, and she looked at me and she said, "Oh, you look awful. You almost look green." And I was like, "Grace." But I felt exactly what she was describing that I look
Yeah.
like.
And is that because of your level of hypervigilance for a long period of time?
I
it's
do
like
think
a stress,
Yes.
a
Yes.
stress reaction.
I do think so. I think there are
Adrenaline.
some cases where you're drained by what's there.
Yeah.
By the energy that's there with you is draining you so that it has more energy. I don't
Basement,
think
my
that.
haunted manor.
We could talk about that too. The
I mean,
basement's crazy.
I felt something there too, so I'm like,
That was our first stop. The first time we were there
Yeah.
was the basement. I'm
it
like,
was ugly. It was not. I won't go back there.
Oh,
I
see,
won't
you
do
will go back there. You won't go back in the basement.
it. No,
I
I
think-
meant the basement.
Yeah.
I have been in the basement 4 or 5 times now at my haunted manor, Samuel Miller Mansion, whatever we want to call it. And there's definitely something down there.
Yes.
The last time I was there, I was with Sherry and Maureen from DSGI, and I couldn't see the tripwire, the tool that is the EMF detector really, but it's a tripwire with lots of lights on the ground. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
So it's really long. It's
What
like,
was
what was
that
that beep?
I heard it.
I hope it wasn't Andy's phone.
I know. It sounded like a camera.
Yeah.
Like when it goes. "Toot."
Yeah, I heard it too.
That was wild.
Um,
Because there should be nothing here.
Well, they're still upstairs. It sounded to me like a timer type.
I heard
thing.
it. It was definitely like a beep sound.
Like something heated up in that, like a coffee machine. or
No,
something.
to
Maybe.
me it sounds like when you hit your camera button before
Like
you
a
take.
shutter.
Yeah, but not the shutter. It's like
Oh, the red eye light.
yeah,
that
when you're like
comes
beep,
on
and then you click it and then it clicks
to focus it.
Yes, that's what it sounded like to me.
And
Anyway,
it may be a battery low warning on my phone.
Oh,
I heard it
yeah.
again.
You know, that sounds like a security system, like a
Like a low battery.
I've never
Yeah.
heard that before though.
Well, we can
Okay,
investigate
but
that
we
later.
can do
Yeah,
but
we'll
I didn't
debunk
see
it.
anything
So
there.
in the-
except now the lights are going down again.
that side of the lights went off.
This one on this side. of the
Yeah, I
room.
saw the shadow change over
Yeah.
here.
Anyway,
The,
so you
Not
have
that we're
to be
being hyper vigilant here.
You
but-
have to be super aware of everything. So
Yes.
it takes a certain type of person to really want to do this all the time.
yes.
So
because you do feel bad afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It
You
does.
feel tired. You feel
Yeah.
really drained.
mm-hmm.
You can't do it and then go to work the next day.
Have you felt anything physically touching or pulling your hair or doing
Only at
anything
Trains
like that?
Allegheny.
oh yeah, didn't something run up
Behind
behind you?
So we had, who was I with? I was with Trey, Matt, Christina. It might have just been us at one point. We were on the third or fourth floor, the top floor, and we were sitting just talking, and the entire time you're in any of the hallways at Trans Allegheny, you're hearing you're hearing footsteps, you're hearing doors open and close. It's never quiet,
Yeah.
which is wild.
Yeah.
That's one of the places where if you did watch something about that, all of it's true. That wasn't just a 32 snippet of time. That whole 12 hours. You're gonna hear
Like
something.
they probably cut out so much that okay, well, we already have like 5 door slams.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's unlike any other place I've ever been at. And I thought it was going to be extremely scary. I was afraid going to Trans Allegheny. When I got there, the feeling is confusion.
Yeah.
The when I went through the doors, the first thing that kind of swept over me was, why am I here? I'm so confused. That's how I felt. It
Yeah.
wasn't scary. It was, I mean, I guess confusion can be scary, but it wasn't a raging fear.
Yeah.
It was true confusion. I couldn't make heads or
Interesting.
tails. But when we were up there, we were getting ready to leave. We had gotten all the activity recorded. We asked our questions, who's here with us? Can you make a knock? And of course they knocked. But I am normally the first person to go into a dark room, or I'm the last person.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
That I thought I would be afraid, and then I wasn't. But I was the tail as we were leaving. Trey was ahead with his camera, and Christina and Matt were in between us. And I felt something scratch me, and I got so upset because nothing had ever touched me before. And I was trying to see. I couldn't even see it was on my back, and I lifted my shirt, and of course Trey comes running with his camera, and he showed me afterwards the scratch that was
yeah.
on my back. And we went back down to sort of the welcome ground zero room, and I guess my face must have showed that I was upset, and Gina immediately came over. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I started to cry. I was very overwhelmed. But then I thought about it, and I thought they just didn't want us to leave.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't done trying to communicate.
Yeah.
It wasn't something, I'm trying to hurt you.
It's like
Right.
grabbing you.
I was the last person in line, and it
Mhm.
was something was trying to grab us and slow us down.
Yeah.
And then of course, they
And that
all want to
makes
go
you
back.
sad.
It does make you sad.
Yeah.
It does.
When you say something, what do you visualize when you think about, when you say that word, something tried to slow us down? Do you see,
A person.
I
imagine it was a patient. No, I imagine it would have been a hand. I don't think even a shadow. I think a hand maybe from a shadow. I do think to leave a mark, there had to have been something. I wish Trey, right.
It's a solid.
I wish Trey's
right?
camera had been turned the other way, so we could have gotten that. But no, that is the one and only time I have been touched, and it did at first scare me until I let myself process it.
Yeah.
So then they wanted to go back up, of course, immediately, because Christy was scratched, so we have to go back.
Right.
And I said, no, I'm not going up there. But I did, and that's when, as we were going through a hallway to turn left down to where I was scratched, something ran up behind us.
Yeah.
Again, though, maybe that was excitement because we were back.
Yeah.
It was just like a really fast run, and
Right.
and like in a Scooby-Doo cartoon, we all kind of collided into each other because there was such force with it.
Yeah. Wasn't it Debbie at the back?
Debbie was at the back there.
Yeah.
That's
So you can listen to the rest of that from a different perspective on Debbie's episode.
yes. Please do. Debbie is incredible.
She is.
That was
we had a good
interview with her. That was fun. This is awesome. I'm
Yeah,
having
thank
such a
you.
good time. I'm a Christy fan.
One of the
Oh,
things that
thank
we
you, Emma.
try to keep it to a certain time frame, but we never do.
No, we never do.
Where are we now?
An hour almost.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you
And-
let us know, or you have to go anytime.
I'll have to make dinner for the kids, but
Thank you for listening. If you have a story you'd like to tell us, please email us at onlyghostsinthebuilding@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram at Only Ghosts in the Building or Facebook at Only Ghosts in the Building. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/Only Ghosts in the Building, and you can come join for free, or we have a $1 a month tier or a $5 a month tier. Come check us out. We have a lot of good content there. I really enjoy the app and all its capabilities. You can listen, you can watch, and you can read and check out all our content right on there. We have merch for sale at onlyghostsinthebuilding.com. There's some really cute stuff, including kids' clothes. Go check that out. Thank you so much. We will see you soon.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.